Hello everyone, and welcome to another review by Emily Illustrator. Today we are going to be reviewing the Arteza 32 pouring acrylic colors. I was very curious about these because aside from all of my adult coloring, I also do acrylic pours. Fluid art is another name for it. And so I was really intrigued by the idea of having pre-mixed paints. If you've watched any of my fluid art videos, you know that I have my own recipe. I pour my own, I mix my own paints and everything. So I have kind of a technique that I use with my particular recipe. But the idea of having these already ready to go, because a good portion of time when you're doing fluid acrylic is spent mixing paint. I can easily spend an hour before I actually get to doing a painting. So the nice thing is these already come pre-mixed. So up on the top of this, you have got all of the colors listed. You have got 4 of the titanium white and 2 of the black. They do this because the white and the black tend to be a base color, which is super handy when you are doing multiple paintings. The box itself is a nice solid cardboard box, so this will be perfectly fine for long-term storage. Inside, you've got a nice divider with all of your paints lined up. Each bottle of paint has a protective cover on it. You can just peel that off, but it also, you'll be comfortable in knowing that your paint will not leak while traveling or before you've purchased it. The box came pristine. It was absolutely beautiful. But the nice thing is you have a wide range of colors. You've got your greens, you've got some blues here, you've got purple, you've got plenty of reds, yellows, golds, and I'm going to show you later, because what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to create a handful of different paintings, a few different techniques. I'm going to be figuring this out along with you, because when using a new pouring acrylic, it's a brand new recipe and it is not my recipe, therefore it will have a different consistency. So it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me as well. But that was the whole thing, is I wanted to try them out. I wanted to give them a nice little review so you guys can kind of be familiar with it, to see whether or not it's worth it for you to get this or make your own, or in general just, are you doing this as a hobby? Is this something you just want to enjoy for yourself? So it definitely piqued my interest as to how I can use these in my fluid art paintings. So what I have here is I've created one already, and this one is pretty dry, and you can see here I've used a number of colors. So if I remember correctly, I used a gold in here. I believe I used the phthalo green as well as the neon purple, and then white as my base. So those were my 3 colors. And what I ended up doing is called a swipe technique. I added my own silicone, which is what got those cells. I've been having a little bit of fun with glitter lately. You'll see in some of the paintings later that I added glitter to those too. But I'm also recording this review around the holidays, and what's the holidays without a little bit of glitter, So yeah, you can see I've got a few cells on here, but the colors are nice and vibrant, and there was no fading after it dried. I still need to clean a little bit of the silicone off, but it took to the silicone well. Alright, well, why don't we get into creating a few more paintings, and you can kind of see how they work a little bit. We're going to do a few different styles, a couple different combinations of colors, and we'll see what we can come up with. One of the other things I wanted to show you here also was, now that we've created our paintings, is I wanted to talk a little bit more about the bottles as well. As you saw in the videos using the bottles, they're super handy. They've got the little pop top, you know, this tiny little precision hole here. Because they're already pre-mixed, you don't have to deal with a lot of air bubbles in your paint. But the nice thing is, yes, you can look at the bottles for the colors, but also on the front, if you want to even swatch them or keep track of them, you have the names right here. So this one, it says Arteza Pouring Acrylic Colors Premium. And then on it, it has its name here where it says Carnation Pink, and then its code number is A602. Each bottle is 2 fluid ounces. So when you are doing fluid art, for me personally, I tend to measure my paint down to the ounce. So it helps you keep track of how much paint that you're using, how much you need for the size of canvas that you're using. I will say, for me personally, in creating as many as we did, so we have 4 4x4s that we created, we have 2 5x5s, and 1 5x7s. I went through and used, as far as like how quickly it gets used up also, I used up at least two bottles of the white. Those are the only ones that I fully emptied. So I will say, for their size, you're going to want to keep these for probably smaller paintings. I would not try to create, you know, like, I mean, you could. You'd have a lot of paintings. You'd probably want to invest in maybe a bit more white or base colors, because I think those will go through quickly. But the nice thing is that you have 4 bottles in here. So if you're doing this as a hobby and you want to create just some nice little small ones for yourself, this is going to be perfect for it because you have so many colors, and then you've got a good amount of your base color. So like I said, if that gives you a little bit of an idea, we created 4 4x4s, 2 5x5s, and 1 5x7s, and the only bottles that we emptied were 2 of the white. Now that could also be me. You don't necessarily have to use white as your base. You could use whichever color you want as your base. I have a tendency to use white as my base quite a bit, so I personally would probably want to get a lot more of the white color. But you can see also on the side here that these are also non-toxic, so that is very good. Aside from that, they are definitely a different formula than the paint that I am used to. These are a little bit thicker, so they're going to flow a little bit slower than the recipe that I gave you on my previous videos. That being said, near the end there, because it took me a little bit to figure it out, I was able to finally figure out a way to add the silicone to get those cells, because when you're dealing with a thicker formula, the silicone is going to have to work harder to push up through that paint. So it's just a matter of figuring out what works. So what I ended up doing, normally when I am creating my own, I'll have my cups and I'll add my paint, and then each cup will get its own silicone, then I pour it all into one cup. But because it's already in the bottles, what I did is that I layered all my paints in my cup, I added my silicone, and then I just lightly mixed it. I don't usually mix it, but when I mix it with the cup, it's literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, just enough to get that silicone down in there. And when I did the flip cups with those, you saw I was able to get a few more cells. So that is what I wanted. That is what I would recommend if you were hoping to get more cells with this particular formula, just because it is slightly thicker than the original recipe that I gave you. But these are great for swipe pours as well. And you saw I just had the paper towel and I just dragged it right across the top with all the other lines of paint. So they're fun, they're already mixed, it's low stress, I didn't have to spend hours to mix it all together. So it's great if you just want to get them and you just want to experiment. So if you get these and you just want to play with them, I would recommend getting small canvases and just painting to your heart's content. They're absolutely wonderful. I had a lot of fun with them. If you're doing anything bigger, I would recommend mixing your own paints, but for the amount of different colors that you have, I would recommend definitely saving these for smaller paintings versus larger ones. Also, don't forget, tomorrow is Black Friday, which means Arteza is going to have some great deals going on, as well as if you miss Black Friday, I'm going to have a 10% off code down in the description below. Follow my link to the website, you can enter in the coupon code, and you will get 10% off of your purchase as well. Alright, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I know I enjoy fluid art quite a bit, so if this is something you're interested in, definitely check it out. If you like what you've seen here today, please don't forget to like and and subscribe. Hit that little bell for the notification, because I also live stream adult coloring. Occasionally we'll do something different, but I live stream a color and chat on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central Time. Fridays, 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time as well. So feel free to check that out, and thanks for watching. Bye.